The following podcast contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Greetings from Tromaville. This is Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of the Toxic Avenger. And, folks, when we're not making those great Troma movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nukem High, Volume 1 and Volume 2, the Troma team and I like to kick back and listen to the best podcast in the world, The Showdown, because The Showdown is the most educational, the most emotional, and the most intelligent, and the most entertaining podcast in the entire world.
Oh, shit! It's getting gangsta. This is the Showdown Podcast. Those voices you hear are that of Coolio and Fat Ass LV. Welcome to the Showdown Podcast. I am your host, Brad Scott. I'm joined live in the Miller Zoo by co-host Corey Miller.
Hello.
And on one of the Bottoms Up Skype lines, Bottoms Up, Draft Beer Warp Speed, we have from White Ass, Delaware, Vic Miller.
What's happening?
Now, Vic, don't let your neighbors hear this playing too loud, or else they may come get you.
It's all right. My neighbor's black. It's all good.
What?
There's two of us.
They keep you guys
right next
together?
door to each other. Right next door to each other.
They just keep you guys
Only
together?
two in the neighborhood.
We need to know where they are. Have them live
They're
next
like,
to each other.
watch out for that corner of neighborhood.
When you got to town, they're like, oh yeah, your house will be the one next to the one with the giant cross in the yard.
That's my neighbors on the other side.
And that infectious laughing you hear on our other Bottoms Up Skype line, Bottoms Up Draft Beer Warp Speed. We are pleased and honored. This is obviously a big deal for, I think, Corey, even more than anyone. I kind of feel like when I was at that wrestling event and I got the wrestler to give my daughter a hug and give her a headband.
Yeah.
I feel like Corey is Dave is your Bailey.
Oh, is that right?
Because he has been Corey has wanted this guest on the show since episode 2.
Was it 2?
I think so. Episode 2. He was just like, yeah, you're doing fine, Brad. But can we get Dave on? We are honored to be joined. He's one of the best comedians in the world. He is by far one of the few truly smart, edgy comics we have left. He is not afraid to say what he means. And he is a fill-in co-host all the time, a regular on the Artie and Anthony show. And we are honored to be joined here today by Dave Landau. Dave, how are you?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thanks for having me, man. I'm in Detroit with white neighbors.
Wow, that is so weird.
Wow.
We got 2 black guys in Delaware, and Dave surrounded by white people in Detroit.
Well, we do have some black neighbors, but immediately next door, it's all white.
You've made it.
I know, right?
You've
Keep
truly
it
made it. Now,
I'm in that part of town.
I wanted to start this show a little weird. We're a movie podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We promise we'll talk movies, but there's something Corey brought to my attention before we started recording.
And I'm regretting it.
Yeah, he's regretting it, but it's something we need to talk about because this is...
See, Corey, you open your mouth.
I know
insert
it.
Foot.
I thought this was just like an off-air conversation, just kind
I brought it to the table, baby.
And they brought it to the table.
So here's what we're going to
No, let's jump right into race. That's always a good topic.
So tell us everything you don't like about black people, Dave, and then Vic will get your response.
Yes, I'm waiting. Please, Dave.
So no.
Let me hear.
Okay.
Here's what's going on. If you haven't seen it,
I think they have great phone manners as of right now.
if you haven't seen Chris Rock's new special, Tambourine, on Netflix, it is available now. And if you're not familiar with Chris Rock's work, he's a little edgy. And he has done a joke in this special that has enraged white people everywhere. And Corey, tell him what he did.
Well, the joke was how he wished more. Was it he wished, or he said he thought that there should be more white kids?
This is how
being
controversy gets started.
I know it.
Right.
No.
That's exactly how it
that
starts.
was my whole point. That's how it really starts. Somebody hears a joke one way, and then when they re-describe it to somebody else, they don't get it exactly
Yeah,
right.
but in this case though, the video evidence is there, and that's what's being passed around.
Okay, so there's a 20-second clip. Let's not call the video the joke, because it's a 20-second clip of a joke from Chris Rock's new special where he says he wants to live in a world of true equality. He wants to see just as many white kids get shot by the police as black kids. He wants
No. Hold on. He didn't say that. That's not the part that was there. They left out the part of what the context was. They just said he wants to see as many white kids shot as black kids.
That's the whole point. Is like no matter what they do now, is everything anybody says is out of context.
Yeah.
It's impossible to find any news or anything where it's not just out of context.
Yeah, and the bit, though, is essentially the whole bit, because I've seen the whole bit. I've watched the special. I've seen, it was one of the first jokes he does, is the idea that if we're going to have true equality, they should have just as many white kids get shot by the police as black kids. He wants to see white mothers and grandmothers on TV at funerals crying, talking about justice for Daniel. He wants to, and then it goes into, if you're the police, if you're, like, why not, if you're going to be smart about it, why wouldn't you kill a white kid here and there just to try to even out the numbers? That's the joke.
I feel like he could have found a funnier white name than Daniel.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Bartholomew?
Yeah, it's just lazy writing, and he's such a great writer.
But
you could have gone Skylar. You could have gone a lot of names there.
That's a perfect point. That's how comics see that. That's where comics see the controversy in this joke. They're like, that's a shitty white name.
Yeah, it's just Daniel could very well be black. I mean, we're talking to a Vic. That's whiter than Daniel. You know what I mean? Like, my friend Craig is like the blackest dude I know, but still, like, you need like the whitest name,
Well, it's becoming one of those popular things where everybody gets. If you don't know Chris Rock's material, this like if you've been a fan of Chris Rock, I should say, you did not see this joke coming out of left field. I mean, it made perfect sense. He opened his HBO special, Bring the Pain, which was basically his last shot to have a career in Hollywood.
22 years ago.
Yes. And he opened it by doing a joke about the mayor of Washington, D.C., Marion Barry, getting caught smoking crack with a prostitute. And he did that joke in D.C., where he filmed the special, and the special starts off with him getting boos. And he actually says, you can boo me all you want, I'm right. And then it turns into applause. Like, that's what Chris Rock does. I don't understand why people are so surprised.
Well, not even that. Like, he had a special he did, like, I think it was like 9 years ago, where he literally starts off by saying how he doesn't trust white kids in schools. That's why he won't go talk at schools. He's afraid he's going to get shot up.
That was right after Columbine, I believe.
So it's not like it's something that's new for him. It's just that now they're going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces to make him look as bad as possible.
Well, and that's what they're doing. Is, I mean, when you write as a comic, you have to take both sides of the stereotype. So you're taking the black kills black stereotype, flipping it on its head, and having it be the white kills black stereotype, which is hilarious. Like, that's the stance that he has to take to almost even the playing field before he gets into the darker part of that joke.
Right.
Well,
but people are pissed because even though that special came out before the Florida shooting last week, people are obviously thinking it's insensitive and was for some reason filmed and recorded and done 9 seconds after.
Because that's how it's done on Netflix. Come on.
Exactly. Right. It was live.
He got a call. It was like, what? Some white kid's been shot.
I'm on it.
Give me
my
Mr. Netflix.
Get up.
He's got a red phone in his office that's called the White People Die phone, and when the white kids get shot, that phone goes off.
Give me Mr. Flicks.
Looks like I got a new bit.
I just don't get the shock out of people. The same thing with the Tom Segura thing with saying the word retarded. Like, if you know Tom Segura's comedy, he's on the edge. I mean, people do this at comedy clubs all the time. They walk out saying that they were offended, and it's like, oh, did you not go to the comedy club's website and look at who was going to be there? I mean, every comedy club in the world has a website where you can find out who's going to be there, watch clips of them. Before
that's why
you go.
Anytime anybody gets offended at one of my shows, I just say, like, you could Google me. Like, it's not impossible. It's 2018. There's not one, even the shit that I've done, like NBC, is like missing kid jokes.
I was
and
getting ready to
stuff,
say, you opened with
like,
one of my favorite jokes in history. He opened the was it the 8th season, I believe, of Last Comic Standing, national television. Not even like late. I think it was 8 o'clock.
I think it's prime time. Yeah.
Yeah, prime time with a missing kid joke, and was told by Keenan Wayans, one of the judges, that gives him a legitimate chance on winning $250,000. So
it's supposed to be irreverent. If you're going to be irreverent, be that way.
People that understand comedy or people that get it in general aren't the people who are turning around and cutting up 20-second clips of a joke. It's just, I mean, if you could, what was his name? Who's the dude that dropped the N-bomb?
Michael Richards?
No, the other one. I know there's a bunch of them, but from Seinfeld.
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards.
Is that him?
Kramer.
I don't know.
You know him as Kramer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kramer. So, like, if I were to go and his joke and just draw and, like, clip that up into him just dropping it and just, blow it up, yeah, nigga, this. Then, of course, it's gonna cause a huge catastrophe.
I'll actually say the Michael Richards thing is it's a little indefensible because his wasn't a joke. Like, his wasn't a planned bit.
Oh, no, he was just
His
yelling that
response to
word
black
at black
people.
audience.
Right.
Yeah, like, it'd be very easy to cut that into a clip. You just have to watch what he did.
Yeah, like just be like, right there and right there, we're good. But, like, it's ridiculous for people to just be like, oh, yeah, well, Chris Rock is being completely insensitive. It's like, no, like you said, this happened before, the unfortunate event happened. So you can't, what are you going to try to hold him to that? Oh, well, that's exactly how all black people, and that's the other thing, is they're going to be like, well, that's how the black people feel about the situation anyway.
And to think that that's not true, like, and to put that on him, I've thought about sending my kid to a black school because I'm afraid of the white shooters. Like, that's a dead serious reality that I've considered because
in Detroit.
It seriously become. I mean, yeah, dude. But when I was a teenager and Columbine happened, it shocked the world. Now it's got to be like more than a baker's dozen to even make national news.
Well, it's what,
Right.
18?
It's psychotic.
18
Yeah, it was
this year?
17 at the time, 18 at this point.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
13 still in critical.
It can't be insensitive to the Florida shootings because he's not talking about school shootings.
No.
First of all, he's talking about white
Right.
kids being shot by the police, and his point is not, I wish the police would shoot more white kids. It's, look at how many black kids they shoot. You would think they would throw in a white kid to balance it out, to just try to play off the racism.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, there's a rapper, and you might know who it is, who did a video where it is every single situation where black kids were shot, but replaced them with white kids. And I can't think of who did the video, but it's really jarring when you look at it through that perspective, when it's completely flipped on its head. And you have to look at it through, like, 3 black cops running up and shooting a white kid in about 12 different situations. It's something to pay attention to.
Well, shit. Eminem said, a kid with Columbine happens, and now it's a tragedy. Like, that whole thing, that's a true statement. Like, okay, so we see kids die every day. Black kids in communities die every day, and it doesn't make the news unless there's like a major reason, like cops were involved or something like that. But Columbine happens, and it's all over the place, which obviously it should be, but you don't give as much, coverage to the everyday tragedies that are happening until it affects their community, and now it's a problem. So,
well, the good
it's
thing
just what
is,
it is.
We do have progression because we've gone from blaming Marilyn Manson to blaming Chris Rock. So at least we've stepped up in that direction. We've gone from blaming a white rocker to a black comic.
So what you're saying is we're going backwards, kind of like how we used to blame black people's music for white kids doing drugs.
Yeah. Well, I just saw a thing come over my YouTube feed that said that the new game Fortnite is responsible for the shooting in Florida now too. So they're still going the same route. Everyone's to blame except for the person that did it. And then on top of that, they go from mental health issues instead of terrorism. Again, it just becomes a thing.
There is that element, though, where the kid's parents mom had just died, so he was living with somebody else. He was living with a couple that kind of had adopted him. And they said when in the interview, like, they had no idea they were living with a monster. And it's like, okay, so the kids seemed mentally, unsettled. so you had him move in with you, and you knew his mom just died, so he suffered some kind of great loss mentally, and you had no clue that there might be something going on. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, clearly, if something's going on with the kid, if somebody dies who you're close to, then something's already happened. So nobody talked to him, nobody cared. And this is the end result of it. I'm not blaming the people watching them, but I mean, this is a parent, this is a parent problem all the way down.
It's a guardianship issue on top of that, because one, how did you not know he had an AR-15 in your house?
Yeah, exactly.
Two, this wasn't like it just like his mom died and then he broke and went after these people. He's been planning this shit from before his mom passed away. Like, this hadn't, like, I don't think the trigger was his mom dying necessarily. It was just a matter of this kid was unstable to start with, and nobody did anything about it. And yeah, his mom passing away, I think, is a contributor. When my mom passed away, I didn't walk into a high school and start shooting people. So.
No, I mean, I walked in, but I only hit a janitor.
I went to a high school that was predominantly black. We had they had metal detectors up, so we couldn't.
I thought you were going to say everybody else was already strapped.
Yeah.
You don't
went
shoot up a black
shopping.
school because everyone else is armed and ready to go. So.
I went trench coat shopping, but it was really pricey, and I didn't have enough money for bullets.
It's kind of the rich white couple thing though, where they just kind of like, oh hey sweetie, what are you doing with all those guns and school plans? I got nothing, Mom. All right, well your dinner's almost ready. Pizza rolls are on the counter.
Why do you have the school floor plan?
Yeah, can you drive me to City Hall to do some blueprint shopping? Oh, sure. I'm glad you're taking such an interest in architecture.
Why do you have red X's over all of the entry and exit?
Do you think that garbage can is the bomb? Is that like your favorite one?
Is that what's going on? Is that how the kids say it these days?
All right, on to happier things.
Hold on, I got one more question for you guys about this whole thing, because I've had this conversation like 100 times. So you know how they have those the school shooting like fire alarm things, like where if there's a school shooting, this is what you should do.
No, I didn't know.
Does this seem ridiculous to you? Because basically the kid that does the shooting is probably there for that and knows exactly what everyone's doing.
Yeah, you're giving away the secrets.
I don't understand. That kid is there.
I used to do a bit about it actually years ago when it first happened. I did it on Comedy Central on a show called Live at Gotham, and they actually cut it out because Virginia Tech happened the day before it aired.
Oh.
But it was all about how ridiculous it is, because in my school it was like, all right, lock the door, get under a desk, and just wait until the police come. And it's like, so you want us to just be sitting ducks? Like, if I hear bullets, I'm shoving people. I'm running to a window.
My black ass is out a window somewhere. I don't care if it's a second story or not. I'm going
I imagine Vic leaves the room like the Kool-Aid Man enters it. Like all of a sudden you just hear bullets. Oh, yeah!
Oh, no, shooter. No, that's for sure.
Every teacher in there will be running right after me, so I don't want to hear.
I'd be throwing like a desk through the window and then just going out. It's like the only time you could get away with something like that.
The key in that situation is you don't have to be the fastest.
No,
you just have to be faster than the person next to you.
And the black kid's got to be careful, because if he comes running out, the cops are going to be like, "We got him."
There he is. You hobble Corey, and you're good. That's all you got to do. Hit him in the ankle. He goes down. You keep going. You're good to go.
You got to catch me.
By the way, do you know that's the #1 insult from a black guy to a white guy on PlayStation Online?
What?
Every time I'm playing NBA 2K and a white guy and a black guy start fighting, the white guy will always say like to the black guy that he's a criminal or he's going to go to jail or get shot by the police, and the black guy always fires back with, "Whatever, you school shooting motherfucker." So that's like the go-to because I mean I think as a black person you want that, like when you see the school shooting you're just like, please let him be white. Please let him be white.
It's the only thing we got.
No, I know. I'm the same way.
What else we got?
You got serial killers and school shooters.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't be. Yeah, you definitely can't have somebody. Yeah, yell some horrible. You're gonna get shot by a cop, and you're like, well, you have no rhythm.
You dance like a white boy.
Yeah,
All right, let's.
there's a very slim chance you're gonna play professional basketball.
Hit him where it hurts. You're only playing this because you can't play basketball.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk to Dave. Now, you actually have made a movie.
I did.
Surprisingly, out of the four of us on this show right now, there are two filmmakers, and only one of them's made a film in the past decade.
That's not true.
That's not true.
I made 2 films over the past 2 years, sir. Thank
He
you
wasn't
very
even
much.
thinking of you.
I was talking about
Well,
Corey.
that's why I'm like, how does he get 2 when I've actually
Because
done it?
Corey
over the
was
past
supposed.
2 years?
That was his whole gimmick on the show. Was he's the director, he's the filmmaker, but he
I took
hasn't
over.
worked in 10 years.
It's been less than 10 years.
When? How long?
It was maybe, I think we produced that maybe 6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He did his daughter's project. Remember?
Oh, and I did that one afterwards. Yeah, so there's
Okay.
that too. So
Dave
eat it,
made
Dick.
a movie called The King, and it is hilarious.
I did.
It is
I'm
basically
successful in anything we've done.
it is Menace to Society meets Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
All
That's
right.
a good way to put it. Yeah.
So you filmed the entire movie in Detroit.
Yeah, I shot it all in Detroit in 13 days because there's not really a lot of police, so you can just go and do stuff without permits.
So there was
You
guerrilla
can.
style.
Hold on, you can, because I did that and we got pulled over.
In Detroit?
No, in Indianapolis.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
no,
that's
they'd
why.
be fine. Oh, yeah.
Hold
yeah,
on,
for
Vic.
sure.
Hold
in
on,
Detroit, you'd be fine.
Vic, I got to ask you, what happened?
So
I'm seriously curious about this.
So it wasn't probably the best situation, but we were doing a drug deal scene.
Jesus, Vic.
So well, it's part of the movie. Shut up. So there's a guy standing next to this building, and this other dude these three teenage kids in like a school uniforms walk up to this dude, and they're sitting there talking to him, and we're recording it. And then the dude pulls out. Okay, so he pulls out a gun. You can't see it. Like you literally cannot see
Wait,
the gun.
the
Hold
guys
on.
in the guys in the scene, are they white or black?
They're black,
Okay.
of course.
Vic-
So I mean,
Vic, I got to
And
ask,
so-
did you have somebody that held on to the gun in between takes?
yes.
And
Yes.
so you guys
What
had
color were they?
He was white.
Of course.
I'm smarter than I look, dude.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
So you're filming the scene.
Very-
Guy pulls out.
So
You
we're-
don't want to give one black friend 8 guns.
Right. So we're filming the scene, right? And then like a lady comes out and she's like, blah, 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 these people, yada yada. And then because then the scene is basically the drug dealer like yells at the kid, and the kid just starts running. We're in the back of this truck, and we're filming driving away, and this kid is chasing the car because we needed a motion shot. And there's a guy standing behind him, and basically you hear bah, 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 because he's making the noise, so the kid kind of jumps a little bit while he's running.
Uh-huh.
And cops showed up.
Yeah, you don't need
I
a
kind of
permit.
feel like they were in the right.
I mean, there was like literally when they showed up, there was literally nobody on the street. We found the most desolate, like no one lived there. Like there was the houses, like 3 or 4 of the houses on the far end of the street were lived in, but like the 8 after that were all like old houses, condemned houses. There was like an old business at one end that wasn't it, and it was like an alley streetway, so it wasn't like you could really see anything going on. And then you have a bunch of people with cameras, literally like big cameras, a boom mic. Like you can tell that this is not something really going on, unless
Right.
drug dealers have gotten really sophisticated where they just play it off like they're filming a movie.
That
while they're
would
actually
be
doing drugs.
brilliant. Every
Like,
drug
that's the
deal
only
is a
second
scene.
So cops roll up, they squawk us, and they're like, hey, what's going on over here? Blah blah blah. We have reports of things going on. I forgot exactly what he said. I'm like, yeah, who reported that exactly? And we told him what's going on. He's like, well, all right, well, you guys just be careful, and he drove off. So, but I was real quick to not go anywhere near dude with the gun, though.
Yeah, no,
Like,
yeah.
That's a 375-pound black man. He looks dangerous. Shoot him now, and we'll ask questions later. So,
And that scared Vic all the way to Delaware.
See,
and I left.
we only got caught. We only got bothered by cops once, and it was for the dumbest thing. We were standing This was when we went back to the suburbs and we were filming this scene where everybody says goodbye at the end of the movie. And the girl is wearing almost nothing just because of what happens throughout. Like, she's in like leather and, fishnets and stuff. And the cops pulled up 2 cars and got out because they thought we were filming a live porno movie.
Out on the street.
Out in the busiest section of this area. They thought we were next door to a place called Lou's Pet Shop filming a sex scene.
What was the toughest part of filming?
For me?
Yes.
Oh, the car scenes. Like, buying a convertible and shooting in the convertible to get sound and everything is really stupid. We learned that immediately.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
So what did you have to do? How did you improvise?
We had to dub all the audio later, and it's very, very difficult, especially in the car. We had to do a lot of sound editing, which is just a pain in the ass. So we had to go back and redo everybody's lines, re-edit them in, have them do it perfect. It was very difficult. Like, that was hard, and then when we filmed the dope house scene, that took an entire day. That was really difficult because we had everybody sitting around in, like, 90s attire with guns and all that stuff. The only thing is we didn't get bothered by the cops because we were filming in a real drug house in a
They're like, those white guys in that drug house over there, that's nothing strange.
Well, no, what's weird is it was mainly black dudes and then me in Juggalo paint. So I remember I was standing outside holding an automatic shotgun in Juggalo attire with 2 other black dudes, both holding handguns. And this little girl came by on a bike and was just like, "Hey, everybody!" Like it was everybody.
Well, that's not strange.
Yeah, that's not weird. Just a guy with a gun and clown paint.
Another day in Detroit.
Funny like that in the hood sometimes. Yeah, it's just sort of that was definitely difficult to pull that off because that scene has a lot of special effects and a lot of. Like, we really did a lot of stuff having no idea how it would look. And fortunately, we had such a good editor and director that he was able to put in all the CGI later that makes it all come together really incredibly.
So you grew up in Detroit. It had to be tough because you were a white kid in Detroit shortly after the white flight, right?
Well, I grew up, I went to Grosse Pointe North, which is a predominantly white school. My house is on the border of Grosse Pointe, which is an enclave of the city. But it's a mixed school, I would say. So, no, it wasn't hard to be. I mean, it wasn't hard to be. It's never that hard to be white. Does that sound bad?
I know, right?
It's amazing. The area he's
right,
talking
Vic?
about.
I never have those problems.
It's amazing the area he's talking about because I've seen it. And it's incredible. You go from like one of the worst ghettos in the country to just one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the country. And it's almost like looking at Oz.
That's kind of like how downtown is a little bit, too.
Man, that poor kid that lives right on that line.
That's me.
That was Dave.
I grew up on that line.
No, that was Dave.
That's sitting there like, man, one block over.
You may have gone to the Grosse Pointe North, but you spent a lot of time in Detroit, right?
Well, no, I spent most of my time, because I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I didn't really go to class, and I was a raver. So, yeah, most of my time was spent in Detroit.
And that's the stuff I want to talk about. What was the most fun?
Okay.
What was the most fun at that point? Like, what was the peak moment of fun? Because, I mean, I'm sorry, that sounded to me awesome.
Well, going to raves?
Raves, drugs.
Yeah, not really. I mean, you know my story. By the time I was 21, I was arrested 12 times. And then, moving on from that, I was definitely an addict and an alcoholic, and I wrecked like every car I ever got behind the wheel in. So, yeah, some days were fun. Others weren't.
Well, I want to hear about the fun time. The fun times. What were those like?
I mean, the best. I kind of grew up in a sense where it was anarchy. I mean, I lived in a place where you could go into a very bad neighborhood and party all you wanted. Then you could end up at like the richest auto money, kind of kid's house where it's just everybody doing cocaine and they're allowed to do whatever they want because their parents don't give a shit. They just had them as trophies. So you kind of grew up in this thing where everything was very easily accessed. Anything that you wanted, you could get your hands on. So I was I was a dealer. I was a partier, and I mean, I think I've had an interesting life. I've seen cops wrestle a drug dealer's alligator. I've seen.
Wait! Don't just gloss over that. First of all, this was in Detroit, and the drug dealer had an alligator.
Oh, dude, cocaine dealers always have exotic pets. You know how many times I've had to compliment a Komodo dragon?
So where they hide their stash, they'd be like, if you want to get to my shit, you got to get past my alligator.
Yeah, exactly.
Was it like a full-grown alligator?
Dude, they catch tigers and cheetahs and shit in Detroit that escape dealers' basement way more often than they should. So, and usually this cheetah's terrified. It's just like, this is rough. It just bothers me how easy it is for people to get a cheetah. But that's a totally different conversation. No, my buddy who was a dealer, he was our coke dealer, and we went over to his house one day, and we were all inside just doing a bunch of lines at 11 in the morning because we're all good people. And the cops start banging on the doors, so we run upstairs in his house and pretend we're not home. And he starts walking to the garage, and he's just like, yeah, they're probably here for my alligator. And we're like, I'm sorry? And he's like, yeah, I keep an alligator in there. I feed it like rats and pizza. That was what he said.
It's like Pineapple Express. It's like, I got a lion to protect my stash.
Did he think that the alligator was one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like, it'll eat pizza, and I'll throw it a skateboard to keep it entertained.
Yeah, he gave it a sigh and a bow.
The alligator's looking at her like, what the fuck do you want me to do with it?
Exactly. Are those nunchucks? I don't have thumbs. What are you doing?
I can't hold this.
And these eye holes on this mask are all wrong.
I was going to say, stop trying to put eye holes on a blindfold over my face. Alligator. So we're all looking inside, and we're all looking outside, and then all of a sudden 2 cops come out, and they're just like wrestling this giant alligator with like, they have one of the poles around its face,
Yeah.
And the other one's trying to keep it from the back, and they're just like fighting it all the way into the paddy wagon. And then they just they left a warning on his front door, like not even like,
you're next.
No.
Not
Like,
allowed.
I'm guessing like a government warning. Not like we're gonna come.
Dude, it was.
But that's what you meant, right?
We went into the.
You mean like
that?
they left like a warning, like a government warning, like a warning you would get for a speeding ticket, not a warning. The cops were like left a note like with newspaper clippings saying you're next, because that's what Corey thought.
Yeah,
you meant. Wait,
no man, like a warning, like his signal was out.
Yeah. Corey thought you meant like the cops were warning him, like you're next, buddy. Like it was in, I imagine like magazine paper clippings.
We've got your gator. We're coming for you next.
Yeah, it was like a citation.
Yeah. We know you got blow in there. We got your gator.
First gator is a $250 fine. Second time we catch you with a gator is $500 in community service.
Dude, cops walk up to people's house and they're like, could you please put your dog away? Like, dude, can you please put your gator away?
They were probably kind of happy nobody answered, because I'm sure they have had a fight with guys who were like, no, man, that's my cheetah.
I ain't got a dog. Yeah, you do.
ain't.
No, that's my cheetah.
You ain't taking my cat.
That is the one time where you could say cops aren't paid enough. Because if I'm those cops, I'm like, a fucking gator? No.
Dude,
do you know how many times
the cops went and did it? Because usually animal control, that poor animal control guy's like, a gator? I ain't going. Fuck you.
Oh, I'm sure there was at least 12 phone calls before they were like, all right.
That mailman, he's like, dude, they have a gator in their front yard. I'm not delivering the mail.
Yeah.
Just leaves it on the sidewalk.
And we just I remember when they took it out and they took off, we just looked at each other, and I just said out loud, I was like, I guess they just wanted your alligator. Let's keep doing coke. And then later on, we went outside just to see, and we go in, and he had two baby pools surrounded in chicken wire, and that's where he kept it.
Oh my god! And that gator was pissed.
Yeah, it was mad. You should have seen it.
So you've now actually, and it's amazing to have a story like that. You're now, I would say, probably one of the best recovery comics in the country.
Man.
And you travel essentially, you have huge followings, city to city. What has that been like to go from that lifestyle to now? Your primary focus through a lot of your act is focused on your recovery from that.
Artistically, I really enjoy it because I'm bringing in truth from my life, and I'm saying stuff on stage, even to a room of people drinking, that everybody can relate to, because everybody either has done drugs, knows somebody who's on drugs, has been in a weird experience with them, or has had a DUI or a weird, I think everybody's had bad drinking nights. I don't even know how you wouldn't. So just doing that is artistically satisfying, but going to rehabs and doing those shows, I really love, because you're kind of giving people a little bit of hope that they can look at you and see that they can actually go a different way if they just try. And I mean, a lot of the people now that I see in rehabs, the next time I see them, or they write me they're stone sober, or they die from this opiate epidemic, so it's just nice to know that every now and then you can help one person feel like they're not a piece of shit and that they have a second chance, is I guess the way I would put that. That's kind of a rewarding thing.
Absolutely. And you're going to be appearing on Comedy Central's This Is Not Happening, which is becoming a very popular show. I mean, it's becoming the new kind of At Midnight for Comedy Central, where it's people that are in comedy and now even people beyond that follow stand-up are, watching this show. It started with Ari Shaffir and, friend of the show, Steve Simone was on a previous season. And now, I mean, I think, honestly, Roy Wood Jr. taking it over takes it to another level, because that guy is the next Stephen Colbert, it feels like, for Comedy Central. It feels like they're grooming him to take over that next role. So I think the show is...
I feel like The Daily Show should be his. Maybe I'm not allowed to say that.
No,
but
absolutely.
I think he's just the best. And, I think Roy Wood is a fantastic comic, and I think he's a great comic of somebody who's kind of clean but still manages to be very, very irreverent with his political views.
Well, and he's a comic. I mean, the guy.
Oh, yeah.
The guy 2 years ago, I want to say within the past 2 years, stopped by Crackers to do the open mic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to fucking go up after him because everyone else was terrified too.
It's
so
like, hello,
he just
folks,
popped in
today on the stage.
Well, no, he just popped in. Like, literally, I was over in the sound booth with the guy that was running the open mic. And they just go, hey, Roy Wood Jr.'s on his way, and he wants to do some time, so can you get him up? And he's like, yeah. And then, like, the person that was following, it was, like, their first time on stage doing 3 minutes. So he's like, fuck. So after 5 other people refused to do it, I was like, all right. I wasn't even supposed to do time, but, I mean, the dude's amazing. Like, that's a comic. Dave, you fall into that category as well. Because here's the thing.
Thank you.
He's going to get uncomfortable as I say this, but...
I am already.
Dave is a guy, though, when you... Because our audience is familiar with you. They've heard your voice on our opening, telling us not to mention your name. I think that was directed at Corey. But when you ask comedians around the country, if the name Dave Landau comes up, it's one of the few names that comes with nothing but positivity and respect. I have not met one person who's had a bad thing to say about Dave. And it's also because Dave is the type of person where if you're a nice human being, doesn't matter how good you are on stage, if you're a nice human being, you could be an MC in Wichita. And if you're a nice person and you're a decent person, by the end of the week, Dave's going to be like, hey, whatever you need, let me know. If you need to use my name for anything, you got it. But if you're a piece of shit, horrible human being, he still holds a grudge. Which is what I love about him, because I'm the same way. And we've been in situations.
I hold him for a long time.
There was one situation, I won't mention the guy's name, but we were in a green room. And the other comic, said something to Dave, said something to you about, one of your jokes or something. He's like, because this is a new thing with new comedians. They like to talk shit to comics they never met because they feel like that's the way that they get accepted. So he said something. He was just really shitty, but it was like, if you weren't in comedy, it would maybe seem benign, because he was kind of like, hey, this one joke of yours I liked. I mean, I didn't like the rest of your set, but this one joke I liked. Right? He's trying to fit in.
Yeah.
You remember this, right? And as soon as he walked out of the green room, Dave just looked at me and he's like,
still don't
did
like
you
him.
hear that? And I was like, that was a fucking dick move. Like, we both immediately were just like latched on to like, what a fucking asshole. Like, you haven't even said hello. And now all of a sudden you're critiquing the act of the guy who's going up after you for a reason. So it's just, that's why he's one of my favorite people to work with, because we both hate the majority of people for the same reasons.
Well, I just don't like a lot of comics. I think that they're all kind of just narcissistic egomaniacs who have no self-awareness, and I don't like being around
Yeah, it's
them.
always like a game.
Vic, did you just cough Brad's name?
Did you hear what Landau just said?
Damn it, Vic.
I'm not referring mainly
That
to
was
Brad.
pretty good. That was pretty good.
Brad is way too insecure to be egotistical.
Oh,
but,
absolutely.
But
That's
Absolutely.
because Brad thinks everybody hates him.
I do.
That's just his,
Except for
that's his
Dave.
stand-
Dave is like the only
Dave.
guest I think we've ever had where I'm like, oh, he won't hate me by the end of the episode.
He's like, I don't know. Did you guys feel like that guy hated me? We're like, no. He's like, no. I think he hates me.
Go
I'm
back
like,
and listen to episodes. Carl Doniger hates me.
oh
The
my
head of
God.
Indie Pop
Yeah,
Con
if-
hates me, and he's coming back on the show. So I'm going for redemption the whole episode. I'm just going to try to win over Carl. It's going to be my
I
entire mission.
really hope Brad's dad's happy about that leaving choice, because it's left a trail of tears. He thinks everybody just dislikes him and wants to abandon him. He has no sense of self-worth.
It's why I sleep in a little ball curled up outside Dave's hotel door where we work together, just so that motherfucker can't
does.
leave me on Friday.
Now I
That's
understand.
true.
Now I understand where the angst came from when I moved to White Ass, Delaware.
No, I will say one of my favorite experiences working with Dave is when Dave goes at a rude audience member. And it's a guilty pleasure because I know how much he hates it, because every comic hates it. But he's so damn good at it.
Dude, that's my favorite part of comedy, is watching
I
an
know.
idiot go at an asshole.
I had it happen last night.
Oh, tell us, please.
I can't remember everything I said. It was a drunk woman at a high-end wine bar. So
Shocking.
if you want to talk about white,
Which I was about to say, was she
entitlement.
white, and was
Oh.
there privilege involved?
Oh my God! Is there anything more privileged than a rich white woman? I think, yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
waspy.
a woman who got a gluten allergy in a Range Rover on the same day. Yeah,
Which,
she
by the
was
way, is the
shouting
worst.
stuff at the. Yes, no, they're the worst people. Well, because they won't be quiet. Like, if you tell them to be quiet, they then don't understand why they're not the point of interest, and then they get louder.
Yeah.
So she was definitely, I don't know, she was probably in her 50s, and her husband's been banging her secretary for the last, however long. And she was just at that point in her life where she's just, a wine drunk locally, but still thinks she's hot. And she yelled, "You're fat," at the comic in front of me. And then by the time I got on stage, I don't remember everything she said, but when she got up to leave, I was like, yeah, just open the door like that, like you open your legs for every guy you've ever laid eyes on. And I just kept saying different stuff. And then she yelled something like, "I would never let you fuck me." I'm like, "Why would I want to fuck you? You're clearly a tranny." And that's when she decided to pull her pants down and show everybody in the room that she had a vagina. So I was like,
I'm sorry,
like,
she
are
checkmated
we-
you.
Money well
Yeah.
spent, ma'am. Money well spent, or sir. Money well spent,
right,
sir.
exactly. And that's what I said. I was like, wow, they did a pretty okay job like that, but it's still, you can tell it was a dick. And,
When you going
Then
in for
I
the
made-
Adam's apple operation.
yes, of course. And then I kept making jokes about, are we near a harbor? Or do you guys have a fish in the back that's going bad? Or, I made about 5 of those jokes in a row. And then the whole place is going crazy, but a guy that knew her was in the crowd. He just goes, "That's enough." I was like, are you talking to me? And he's like, yeah. I go, so I got up on stage to entertain everybody. She started yelling at me like a fucking mannerless animal. And you're going to take her side because I just happen to be doing my job. And the guy's like, No, you're right.
Well, since you put it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Touche, sir, touche.
No, that's true. I guess I didn't notice the fact that you were just trying to talk to people when a lunatic was yelling at you.
What?
And just the fact that you're like, oh, she's pulling out her vagina. I think I should come to her defense. She's obviously in the right. But yeah, when you break somebody personally just by looking at them and dissecting them, it's a lot of fun. The problem is now is people don't identify when they're acting up, and they don't know how to identify. Like, they just don't want to accept any responsibility for their own actions. So they keep fighting and causing a scene, and then they go on Twitter, and then they go to Yelp, because for some reason the same assholes that write Yelp reviews are the ones that yell at comedy clubs. Somebody who wants to write a review about a local McDonald's is the kind of dick who doesn't know how to behave for 90 minutes.
And I'd say it's probably one of the, it is one of the most fun parts about being a comedian. Like, it's like, it's kind of like going to the dentist. You hate when when you know it's going to happen, when you can start to see it coming, when the person's, starting to kind of pipe up. But once you're in it and you're done, you're like, oh, that was fine. My new thing is, my big one is I go with, there's two insults, depending on if the person is thin or bigger. If they're thin, I go with whatever celebrity they kind of resemble with AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
sure.
When I did a show in Cleveland a couple months ago, I do a joke about race, and right before I even got to like the whole white men can't jump, black people can't swim, before I even got to that part, this guy just yells out of the crowd, goes, "You're not funny." And it sounded just like that. And then I was like, who said that? And this real old, white-haired, skinny white dude stands up and just goes, "You're not funny. You're a racist." And then raised his right fist in the air. And I go, "Oh, come on, man. You can't do the Black Power salute." And he goes, "The Black Power fist is the left hand. You don't know shit." And the whole crowd goes, "Ooh," like that was this big burn. And I was like, relax, guys. To be fair, I don't know shit because I wasn't born at the dawn of time. And then I called him Larry King with AIDS. But if the person is bigger, that the AIDS doesn't work as well. So then you just change it to with Down syndrome.
Oh, no.
And those are my new two
I always
go-to
throw
insults.
in type 2 diabetes.
Ooh, that's a good one, too, yeah. Diabetic,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Celebrity is a good one, too.
Sit down, sir, before you lose a toe.
Like,
Or-
I had one guy who heckled me once who had a very small mustache, and he weighed about 400 pounds. And I was like, you look like instead of killing Jews, Hitler just wanted to eat cake. And just as simply as that's put, that really makes people laugh very hard. Because the guy's kind of just sitting there like, I do look like that.
Well, sir, you've cut me to the quick. I will sit down now.
Yeah, it's like, it is true. I am the only person left with a toothbrush mustache, and I decided to yell at a show.
Well, him and Michael Jordan on a Hanes commercial. Did you ever see that?
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't come across as Hitler, though, on a black guy so much.
Nah, it's still Hitler.
It's, yeah.
It still looks like it wants to kill Jews. And on that note, let's take a quick. Corey's giving me the sign. Let's take a quick social media break, and we'll be right back to talk Dangerous Minds with our guest, Dave Landau. You're listening to the Showdown Podcast.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, it's commercial time. Corey, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at NKOGonzo.
All right, Vic.
You can find me at MillerKing51 on all social media, and also as Black and Angry. That's BLAQ, the letter N and Angry on all gaming platforms.
And you can find me at BradScottComedy.com. Links to social media. Follow at BradScottComedy. And you can listen to WrestleMania, Corey and I's comedy-oriented professional wrestling podcast. Comes out weekly. WrestleMania. That's WrestleMania with an A. WrestleMania. It's not pro wrestling talk. It's sports entertaining. And Corey?
And Vic and I also do another show called the Miller Times Podcast, where we take a look back at the shows of the week that we watch, and we talk about them and kind of slam on them most of the time right now. It seems like it, doesn't it, though?
Most of the time.
You need to let Vic do that pitch from now on.
You think so?
Yeah. Dave, where can the people find you?
Twitter at Landau Dave, DaveLandau.com for tour dates, Dave.Landau on Facebook, DT Landau on Instagram, and Meatball Good Times on Grindr.
We'll be right back.
Just another young nigga having things made.
All right, we're back. This was my 7th grade jam.
7th grade, huh?
I think so. 6th or 7th grade. We're talking Dangerous Minds. And we are here with our guest on the Bottoms Up Skype line. Bottoms Up Draft Beer Warp Speed by Dave Landau and our co-host Vic Miller. So let's start with a little segment on the show that Vic and I like. Vic, are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
All right, I got to get the music ready.
He remembered, though.
However, are you ready?
I am not.
Yeah.
At least he
Dude,
remembered.
I do believe this is the first episode in probably like 20 to 30 episodes that he remembered off the top.
I know, right? I usually forget.
Yeah.
So, all right.
He wants to appear very professional for Dave.
I think that's what it
You're
is.
killing it.
This is the hardest I've ever tried on this show. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Vic,
Ready?
Let's hear it.
it's a little segment we like to call Bankroll or Bust.
And on this week's episode of Bankroll and Bust, we're going to see if Corey can finally get a W by figuring out the box office take for the movie Dangerous Minds. On a $23 million budget, Corey, what was the box office take for Dangerous Minds?
What year did this come out?
This came out in 1995.
Okay. 23 million. I'm going to go with 35.
Vic,
Corey, I just want to tell you that as far as your streak goes,
oh,
you have maintained your streak, sir. You are
Excellent.
a I don't even know what the word for unwinning failure.
Yeah, that would be it.
Unwinning.
I don't know how to categorize it at this point. I'm just going to say you are the most unwinningest person ever. You would think you would have gotten one just by accident. By
I almost
now.
did.
The actual answer to the question is $179,519,000.
Wow.
You were so way off.
what was the budget?
$23 million.
That's a
The
success.
fact that there was not a Dangerous Minds 2 is
Yeah.
astonishing to me. $179 million?
They were afraid to put that many black people on film again.
They didn't do a
Once
sequel?
a white girl. Yeah. No. Did you remember seeing Dangerous Mind 2 come out? You would have watched it.
No, I
That's
didn't watch.
true.
I didn't watch this until recently. So
See, I bought the soundtrack, but I never went and saw the movie. Well, until it came out on video.
right.
Yeah, I saw it on video as well. So let's start with Corey, since this was your first viewing of it. Does it hold up or not? And remember, don't blow your load on what you think about the movie during this answer.
Yeah, I know. It's. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, the only. I don't want to say too much. I think it's an okay movie, but it I didn't really.
So Dave, pardon us. This is what we go through on a weekly basis with Corey. Corey, does it hold up?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
this is a yes or
Yes,
no question
yes.
that somehow you always turn into a essay.
It's hard for me to make a decision.
There's
but
no
I'll-
space for a paragraph underneath the question, Corey.
Yes or no? That's it.
It's
fine.
just, yeah,
answer,
it's a
Corey.
circle one, not circle and explain. There's no show your work. We just want the work.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll get the
Vic.
work off of you later. Thank you. Yes, it does.
All right. For me, it does as well. Did you notice that, Corey?
Yeah.
We had Vic and I's answers, combined words were less than what yours were. Yes and yes. Dave, what about you?
Let's see. Did I think that stand and deliver with karate mix it, in a room of Mexican stereotypes hold up? No, I didn't.
Okay, now how this
In fact, if I can add a paragraph, to put it bluntly, I am shocked that this movie came out in my lifetime and everybody just acted like that was normal behavior.
yes, that's actually appropriate for you to explain the answer because we went to you last so that you could go in about the movie. When you go first, and with Corey, he tends to tell us all of his thoughts in his answer, and then when we get to talk about the movie, he's got nothing. So you don't. So what about it besides all the stereotypes and everything else? Did you find it? I will say this: I found it less corny than I had remembered. I thought it was going to be cornier than what it was.
Okay, so when the secretary interrupts class to tell her that one student's dead, it doesn't seem oddly ill-timed for the grand finale.
Why is she the one that delivers this message?
Yeah, there's no reason she goes and tells her that. And in the middle of class, hey, I see you're busy. You know that guy you're trying to help? He's dead.
Yeah.
Enjoy talking to your class.
Well, and I loved.
If this was a white high school, there would have been an announcement, and the school would have been canceled, and there would have been support animals provided as well as like therapists for everyone. But since it's the inner city, it just gets delivered by
secretary, like it's a note.
Yeah,
Slides it
they
under
just
the
slide
door.
a little pink note under the door and walk away.
There
Emilio's
probably would
dead.
have been a school assembly where they talk about how to say no to doing drive-bys with your cousins.
Well, I also thought it was interesting how, like, towards the beginning, how, like, they had all these teachers that came through and got scared out of the classroom by the students, that the big issue was her taking them on a field trip.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
To an
Like,
amusement park.
yeah, they couldn't get a teacher, so they just hired her with no, she wasn't even a qualified teacher. Like, she wasn't even licensed. They're okay to do that. But they draw the line at taking
Yeah, but also
students on
the
a field
scene
trip.
where she goes to the nicest restaurant in town with a 17-year-old Mexican kid, like, that happened, and she fucked the dude.
No, I was gonna say, was it like that's
And now has a kid with him.
Yeah, like, that completely didn't hold up. Like, yeah, sure, they go to nice restaurants together, but not because they won a prize.
Well, I guarantee you, that's what I was thinking when, like when she goes home to Raul's house to, like, when she's supposed to tell his parents about the fight. Like, if I was Raul, like, oh, this chick wants to fuck me. She didn't tell my
you just
parents
have-
I got in trouble. She's always wanted
You
me
have
to
a
stay.
38-year-old Michelle Pfeiffer in your house. You don't do anything. The fact that there wasn't a sub the next day because she was missing is a giant
I don't care how brave of a Marine you are. That situation doesn't happen in real life.
Right. Yeah, you can't karate chop a bullet.
Right.
And I did love how that was how she proved herself to all of them, was just by flinching back
Yeah.
at the one kid with
by
the weird
barely
voice.
pushing a kid out of the way, and the whole class was like, whoa.
Well, let's talk about that class.
I ain't never seen moves like that, Mrs. A.
Emilio looked like the super popular guy from Clueless
Oh, yeah.
who hits on Alicia Silverstone.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like, and he did
He
not
also
look like he
looked-
was in high school.
No, I was going to say, yeah, he looked about 47.
Would you have been surprised if it
Well,
was like
it
a
is the inner
21?
city. He probably was.
Or what if it was
True.
a 21 Jump Street situation? What if he
Super
was an
senior.
undercover cop who had gone back to high school to infiltrate?
He
Well,
went
that-
back to high school to hit on to sleep with teenage girls.
Yeah, and what? How do you feel
Yeah,
if
it
you're
had
his
nothing to do with an
girlfriend?
undercover operation. He's just trying to get some 16-year-old ass.
His girlfriend with the buck teeth? You know what I'm talking about? With
Oh, the gap. You mean
tooth?
the gap tooth?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gap tooth.
I think they were Bucky too.
Dude, Bucky Gap is totally okay with me.
And I thought it was like, how do you feel if you're her? Oh, I guess I'm just gonna watch my boyfriend try to fuck the new teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bet at the end she was like, I'm glad he got shot.
Damn.
I think Bucky Gap was pretty upset that he died. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, I think
Bucky
so.
Gap seemed pretty hurt.
And then there was that one guy. Was that one kid supposed to be Notorious B.I.G.?
Which one?
The one with the hat.
Oh yeah.
Come on, he was a wannabe, but yeah, I think,
Like,
that's what they're going.
Think about it. Yeah.
Well, they were
mid-90s.
definitely throwing in popular rappers of the time to try to match the kid.
Yeah.
And
The kids in the room.
This movie to me feels like it has a darker reputation than what it actually was.
What do you mean?
Like I remember when it came out, it was supposed to be like this gritty, kind of dark tale that was rated R. You know what I mean? And besides the cursing, what was about it was rated R. Like you didn't have like Boys in the Hood. You see Ricky get shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a big dramatic scene. You don't even see Emilio die. You
But
just hear
Boys in the
about it.
Hood holds up like well. Like that's just a great acted movie. This is just this is seriously Stand and Deliver or Lean on Me.
Yeah, I was
With a
about to say
woman-
it's
Or the
it's
substitute.
Stand by Me, isn't it? With
No,
with
Lean on Me.
Not
Is it-
'cause
no,
Lean on Me. Lean on Me.
Yes, it's Lean on Me. Stand by Me is
Yeah.
with Corey Feldman.
Oh yeah, with the kids in the summer.
This does not have a Stand By Me vibe.
No, it
No.
does not.
No, this is basically Lean on Me meets The Substitute 3 with Treat Williams. Made, given to Michelle Pfeiffer. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's
And when you get older, you realize, wait, that contest was this just them trying to find a poem that had the same kind of meaning as a song?
Mm-hmm.
Like how fucking
she's
dumb are these
explaining
kids?
how-
However you can get to them.
She's explaining how Bob Dylan's a poet, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, Bob Dylan. I know Bob Dylan."
I'm sitting there
You
going. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, do they not listen to rap music? Because
Right, like
that is poetry, just put to a beat.
Yeah, why would she push
Right.
Bob Dylan if she really wanted to reach? Although it's still pretty funny when she writes, when she wrote down on the board when she was changing the sentences to try to relate.
Uh-huh.
God, I wish I would have written down what those sentences were.
Oh,
She
what was
was
it?
hoping,
Wasn't it
she
like
was hoping to find somebody
It
that
was
they wouldn't know, so they couldn't tell that she wasn't being original.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and she wrote like "I want to die,"
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and that's when all of a sudden the same secretary walks in and is like, "Hey, you got to go down to the office and talk to Courtney B. Vance, who's way too good to be a principal in this movie." That guy is such a good actor, and you can
It was
tell
a
he was.
favor. It was a
Oh,
favor.
he was so trying to find depth in that role where he's just like, "You'll have to follow the attended curriculum."
I am an actor.
Yeah, that he's just looking at this going, "Is this my only line? You have to follow the intended curriculum?"
Michelle
Yes,
Pfeiffer has something on him. That's why he's in the movie.
He's got to. That dude played Cochran in The People vs. O.J. Simpson, and even in that, he just stands out as such an amazing actor. Like, he's a great actor who is in a lot of terrible things.
He's not a good choice of picking out the good scripts.
Never shoot
No.
a homeboy.
That was one of the other.
That was one of
sentences.
the sentences. Never shoot a homeboy. Which one
Well,
is
yeah,
the
if you
letter?
walked in, though, and your teacher was doing that in the classroom filled with inner city kids, that's the part I didn't get. Like, her fat friend across the hallway who just was eating the whole movie and got her the job to begin with is teaching, like, a room of well-mannered white kids. Like, what school is this?
Like, this is the most, like, we've gone back to segregation.
You know how
Right,
they
like,
are.
It wasn't even in a bad neighborhood. It was just like, look, we just put the kids from the bad neighborhoods into one room.
Right.
Well, and
We
what a
try not to-
shitty
We don't
friend.
want them to
What a shitty friend. He tries to warn her, and then she kind of like blows him off vaguely. And he's like, all right, well, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you
Yeah,
get.
she does it anyway, and then after the first day where she realizes that she can't reach these kids, she goes home And she goes, she's like, you know what I'm gonna need to reach him? Leather jacket and a cowboy boot. These two things. Then they'll respect me.
Tough I am. Then they'll respect me.
Exactly.
Okay, so Corey, let's get to your analysis.
Well,
You saved it up. Let's hear it.
No, well, a lot of the stuff that we've already kind of talked about. I thought it was
Feels like you had nothing, and you're just going with that out.
no.
Go ahead.
No, I felt the script, like Dave said, it was similar to Lean on Me and Stand and Deliver. Is that the one? Stand and Deliver? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Substitute even. It's like it's kind of the same movie. They just change some of the characters and you get the same outcome. It's kind of like visually and everything else. Yeah, it still holds up. So that's why I had to go with the yes, but I didn't like it.
Wait, visually?
Yeah. Well, there'll be some movies you can watch where it's like, no, this just doesn't hold up. It's just
So like,
it's
you
just
didn't feel like it had as old of a feel to it.
Yeah. I felt it was all right, but
Oh yeah, I agree. It's modern shot. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. Yeah.
yeah. But I just felt like the story itself was kind of unoriginal.
Is this an instance where the soundtrack was bigger than the movie and has lived on to be bigger than the movie?
That's the
Well, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Well, then what other
I mean,
movies
I
are
would
like
agree
that?
because Coolio's drywalling my basement right now.
Like, dude, you need to put that hairstyle away.
Yeah.
Right now.
I have neighbors. Can you wear a painter's hat?
Like, oh, we should get him to do an interview. Dave's like, no, he has a lot of drywalling left to do. He's behind schedule already.
He's got a lot of patch and putty to take care of.
Coolio's like, y'all talking about Dangerous Minds? I got some incredible insight on the
Come
video.
on, man.
No, Coolio,
Oh.
drywall.
I'll rap it a cappella. No.
Just the drywalling. How about you do that a
That's my
cappella?
jam.
1, 2, 3, 4. Your break is over. How about you get back?
Yeah, you're clocking out from the $11 an hour if you're gonna start singing. Part
what
of this is not enjoying yourself.
and you can roll with the homies
What other
later.
movie is like that? That the soundtrack's bigger than the movie itself? Because, like, I mean, I think a lot of the big
Well, The
soundtrack-
Big Chill.
What's the big soundtrack? What's the big song from that soundtrack?
Oh, a whole bunch of like 60s.
Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson.
Don't know it.
Yeah, this is way before Brad's time.
It's way
and it's
too.
Dave and I are the same age.
Are you
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
He's just way more successful, so he seems and feels older.
No, I just watched older shit. I didn't just listen to Bone Thugs and wait for my dad to come back.
No, hold on, Dave.
Damn it,
Dave,
Vic! Damn
Dave,
it!
stop.
Damn it, Vic! You
Dave?
stepped over his dad joke.
No,
It was so good.
No,
You
no,
ruined
no,
it.
no. I have to tell Dave. Look, Dave.
Hold on.
Every single time we talk about anything, I can tell you, you can listen to every episode we've ever read. Bone Thugs and Harmony comes in at least once a fucking show. At least. Like, you would think he gets paid for saying their name. Like, that's how much.
They can't
So when
afford
you
to
bring
pay
that
me.
up, when you bring
Yeah.
that up, it's the best fucking thing in the world right here.
Yeah, but you stepped over his waiting for his dad to come back line. That was perfect. So good. You just you
I
Corey'd
don't
it.
care.
You Corey'd
The
it.
fact, no.
I'm glad
But
I'm
look,
a-
that was my natural reaction to him saying one of the greatest things ever said on this show. So that's what I have to say to you, sir.
You know what I say to you? I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. He should have been on home.
I'll tell you what, though. You mentioned the music, though. I think if it wasn't for the Coolio song in this movie, I would have thought this was a Lifetime movie. The music was that bad. It was on a Lifetime movie.
Nah, Heaven Thanks is a good song. Song we played.
Well,
coming out
I
of the
don't
break.
think Rappin' Forte would have had a hit without that album.
Oh, that's right. He was on there.
Well, it's let's talk about the music because we were talking about this off air, and Dave and I have talked about this several times. He's like, and it's because I think he was like the first person I found that agreed with me.
Hold on. Before you go there, can I ask a question real quick, Corey?
Yes.
Everything you
boy.
said about this movie was, I didn't like it.
But it held
Why
up
did-
because
why
it
did
was
hold up if
modernly
you didn't
shot.
like it?
Yeah. What? What was that? Vic?
That's the only reason why it holds up?
Yeah, I it still holds up. I mean, it's still to me it's not good. If it were, just utter garbage, then I would say no, it doesn't. Or if it's doesn't last the test of time. Something like Austin Powers movie, I rewatched the first one, within the last couple of years. I'm like, this doesn't hold up. It's
but that's because it's like a parody movie. Parody movies never hold up because they're topical jokes for the time.
Yeah.
So
Airplane though. Airplane and Naked Gun have lasted 40 years.
I tell you what,
Airplane.
I actually had a friend who the other day we were playing NBA 2K, and he goes, I said something, I can't remember something said, he goes, surely you're not going to do that. And I just said, I am going to do that. And don't call me Shirley. And he had no idea what the hell I was talking about. That's one of the greatest jokes ever. But yeah, Airplane, that's more the exception to the rule. I mean, look at...
Agreed. Yeah. Well, and I'm going to get you sucker though. I guess we could say 70s and 80s parodies tend to hold up, and then
Scary Movie, the original, holds up too. Actually,
yeah. And I didn't think I'm going to get you sucker holds up really well. I didn't think it really did.
But Austin Powers,
I think just because it mocks blaxploitation, it kind of holds up as well as like even new Black Jesus or something made more recently, just because it's making fun of just a certain category that's been gone for so long.
Yeah.
And I think it hits on all the tropes that are necessary for that category in a funny way.
Right. I agree.
It holds up because I think it held up on when we reviewed it too. So.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's just hard for me because I'm such a big fan of Black Dynamite that after watching,
oh god damn it,
after seeing Black Dynamite and then seeing it's like, wow, it's like I don't know, just I would take Black Dynamite over it.
So you remember what I just said about Bone Thugs? Black Dynamite is Corey's. Every fucking time we talk anything, it's Black Dynamite. God damn it.
I don't think I've mentioned that on this
every
show.
podcast, even on the Miller time, you're like Black Dynamite.
We did that off air. Nobody knew that. But
it doesn't matter every time.
All right.
So you were saying something about other songs that were better than the soundtrack's better than the movie. What about 8 Mile?
I thought that was a good movie.
I only saw it the one time.
I really like that movie.
And then I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. You have one iconic song, but I feel like that movie, because people liked that movie when it came out. Well, I guess they they might be similar.
Maybe the music was bigger because it was already out there. Because Dangerous Minds, like I think that I feel like a lot of the music was more tailored towards the movie than I think 8 Mile. Like the movie, the music was out there and they kind of tailored the story to it.
That Lose Yourself was tailored to 8 Mile Vic because he literally says in the song, "There's no Mekhi Phifer." I don't think he was. I don't think he was prophesizing that Mekhi Phifer was going to be involved with them.
That's the song that was made specifically for the movie. I'm talking about the fact that a lot of the music that was in it was shit that he had already made. So like, it was about his story. It's about his life.
Okay. Well, and all the music was 90s hip hop.
Lose Yourself though has been used after that in so many movies, which is about like people like ad executives or whatever, getting ready for a speech. Like Lose Yourself is massive. It is. I mean, I get the comparison of why that would be bigger. I mean, I bet you that soundtrack sold more than the movie. I mean, without a doubt.
I imagine.
Definitely.
I got one. Who's the Man?
The old Ed Lover, Dr. Dre movie?
Yeah.
Dr. Dre one, yeah.
I don't think either of those lived on to be iconic.
No.
Yeah, the fact that a guy can just call himself Dr. Dre means so little that Dr. Dre doesn't give a shit.
Right. He's like, I'm not going to send you a cease and desist, dude. You're fine.
Yeah, Dre had no issue with people having to be like, which Dr. Dre for about 2 years.
Right.
No,
and I'm sure people who are around him are just like, Dr. Dre looks like shit.
That, and I'm sure he's probably pissed since he was Dr. Dre before Dr. Dre was
That's true, yeah. That is true. Dr. Dre not only sampled music, but sampled that man's name.
Now, I've got kind of a serious one here, but I don't know how big the soundtrack really is. Judgment Night.
Judgment Night?
Oh, man, no, I got to agree with that, actually, because Atari Teenage Riot? That song was massive.
Yeah, they're on there.
Soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cypress Hill's on there. What it is, it's rap groups and rock groups combining on each song.
Which has become like my new favorite genre is Travis Barker remixing any rap song.
Yeah, it's like
Go ahead.
I would agree with that. Like, I love that movie because it's ridiculous. I think that it definitely financially the soundtrack was way bigger than the movie.
Yeah, I had it on cassette. I bought it on cassette when it came out. I was had it been high school because I think that was about 92, 93, somewhere in there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
High school for you was the 60s, bud.
And the whole movie, like, oh god, the movie's the bad guy of just 90s Dennis Leary walking around being Dennis Leary. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Like when you rewatch it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch it. I haven't seen it on lately.
So-
Yeah, I bought it. I had to buy it on DVD, and I probably watched it
do
once
not
a year.
remember this fucking movie at all.
Yeah, Emilio Estevez, Dennis.
I
Wait, is
feel
that
like
where they
I've
have to
seen
crawl through the city or some shit?
They're getting chased by Dennis Leary and two other gangsters.
Would be a
through
way
city,
better
and it's-
movie if it was Dennis Miller.
Hey, babe. Where you going, babe?
I wanna go kill them
Cuba
guys.
Gooding
Spit 'em
Jr.,
out.
Stephen Dorff, and unknown Jeremy Piven at the time, and Emilio Estevez.
So bald Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
Bald Jeremy Piven and Stephen Dorff is Emilio Estevez's little brother.
Well, what I want to talk about with this movie's soundtrack in particular is Coolio. And the misconception that everyone seems to have that Coolio was this one-hit wonder. That Gangster's Paradise was Coolio's one big hit, and that they put him in the same category as an MC Hammer or a
Not a one-hit
Vanilla
wonder.
Ice or, any of those people.
Oh, dude, I agree. Yeah,
It's
he
completely
had so
wrong.
many. I mean, Fantastic Voyage. I'll see you when you get there. That dude had constant hits actually for several years.
Homies.
Say that
Yep.
again so everyone can hear you, Corey. Go ahead.
I said, rolling with the homies.
We're rolling with the homies. That whole Gangster's Paradise album, though, the actual album is a damn good album.
I'd have
Yeah,
to
it
go
is.
back and listen to it.
Smilin' is a good song that nobody's ever heard of.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't think that's on the same album.
Is that on the second album?
I think it is. Maybe either way. Too Hot, which Dave was not aware of until a couple of weekends ago when we worked together in Pennsylvania. Too Hot, did you know that song is all about AIDS?
No.
I did not know, and I was amazed once I looked up the lyrics and he sang it.
Actually, look up those, or you don't touch anything. I'm going to look up those lyrics and read them right now. Vic, you remember the song?
Yeah, vaguely.
It was like that
I
old...
kind of remember it.
It was like an 80s song, I want to say. That was the sample.
Oh, I know it too, and I can't think of the.
Here we go. Here it is. Here's a little bit of it. Here it comes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you
I wondered if you were going to play the whole
It's
song.
like a roll call of everybody who slept with everybody, and that first guy had AIDS.
yeah, if you didn't catch the lyrics, it's everybody listen up because I'm about to get my speak on. Fools be tripping when it's time to get their freak on. Running around town, putting it down without no protection for the erection. When it's time for selection, what's your direction? Before you make a choice, you better do some inspection. If you don't know my aim and don't know my game, then let me explain now. Aisha slept with Mark, and Mark slept with Tina, and Tina slept with Javier the first time he seen her. Javier slept with Lupe, and Lupe slept with Rob because he was rolling on beads and had a good-ass job. Rob slept with Lisa, who slept with Steve, and Steve was positive HIV. What started off as a plan ended up in the plot. You better cool your ass off because it's too damn hot. You know what I think we should do right now, Dave? you're not familiar, we actually have some guests that pop in from time to time.
Oh no.
I think we should have.
Oh, good.
I think we should have one of our friends of the show read those lyrics.
Who?
Who do you think it should be? Should it be old Miley?
Creepy Christopher Lambert.
Creepy Christopher Lambert? All right, here we go.
The subject matter warrants Christopher Lambert.
Okay, are you ready? Everybody listen up, because I'm about to get my speak on. Fools be tripping when it's time to get their freak on. Run around town putting it down without no protection for the erection. When it's time for selection, what's your direction? Before you make a choice, you better do some inspection. If you don't know my aim and don't know my game, then let me explain. I used to sleep with Mark, and Mark slept with Tina. Tina slept with Javier the first time he seen her. Javier slept with Lupe, and Lupe slept with Rob, because he was rolling on beads and had a good-ass job. Rob slept with Lisa, who slept with Steve, and Steve was positive HIV. Pew! 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 All right.
You know, I might have to take back my how great Coolio is. It really does feel like he just had a rhyming dictionary and just wrote around it.
We'll do the Miley one for the after.
Okay.
Let's see, erection, protection, selection.
I mean, it kind of goes back to old school rap where it was all about the rhyme and the rhythm,
True.
not the the yelling and the auto tune. So
Yeah, or even the real gangster rap. It was just the rhythm of the boogity beat.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like he was like the last vestige of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very true.
Is there a more underrated rapper than Coolio?
Vanilla Ice.
Jesus.
By far, Royce the 5'9".
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely.
But
And
okay,
most people are like, who?
is there anybody else that people do that
My
with?
friend John, yeah.
Is there anybody else that people do that with, where they say he's a one-hit wonder because it's the only song they remember? But if you go and look, I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of Coolio songs
it's like
that
it's
you
like
remember what you hear.
Like Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's one where it gets thrown in the one hit wonder because the baby got back. But there are so many other songs. But
yeah, but he didn't have another song like 1, 2, 3, 4 or Fantastic Voyage or See You When You Get There.
No.
Everybody thought Coolio was a one-hit wonder because of Fantastic Voyage. That's the ironic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Fantastic Voyage came out, everybody thought that was him being a one-hit wonder. And then he kept putting out songs
Scarface
that
is
became
kind of
hits.
looked at like a one-hit wonder.
That's a good one.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those are really the only ones.
I mean, I don't understand it. It's one of those things where he's like a Nickelback. He's like Nickelback. He's a joke rapper people use for when they're making a joke about rappers. But it's like, no, the dude was pretty legit.
No, you know what it was though. What really ruined his career was when Weird Al Yankovic made Amish Paradise, and he got all pissed off and was like getting hard with Weird Al, and it's kind of it's almost
silly. Like you see all of the people that he's basically honored by making his parody song. Like he knows that people like enough to make a parody about it. And most other people were like, he made a song for my song. That's cool. But Coolio was just like, look, bitch, I'm not getting enough money out of this.
Here's what I think happened. Here's what I think
exactly.
happened. They approached him about it, and they showed him the checks he would probably get for it. And he was like, yeah. And he didn't really know what he was agreeing to.
Mm-hmm.
So then when he heard Amish Paradise, he was like, what the fuck? What? Wait! No! That's what I signed up because Weird Al Yankovic, his whole thing was like,
well, he's
got the release.
But he's publicly said that he's like my song Gangster's Paradise is deep and it's about the struggle and it's the hood, and to sit there and make fun of it like that, and you kind of look and go, your song is in a movie where a woman teaches kids karate while she wears a leather jacket and cowboy boots.
It's really not about the struggle, dude.
Yeah. The song just made everybody think that it was gangsters, not just a classroom of the kids from the wrong side of the tracks. It was basically the Breakfast Club meets The Substitute.
well, let me ask you this: who has looked more fatter while speaking? Who's looked fatter while speaking? LV in this video when they do that side shot of him, or Biggie in that
when
interview
he's sweating on the toilet?
Wait, was that what? Yeah, where he's more money, more problems, and he's just laying back, and you can hear the fat coming out. Where he's just like, "Well, my man Paul fat, more money, more problems." Like, who looks fatter? Is it LV?
Biggie wins that.
Biggie?
Dude.
Let's put it on a poll.
Biggie wins that.
Let's put it on a
When
Twitter poll.
when you basically have a an attack of like you need to have your CPAP on between takes. There's
Yeah, but whenever they show LV on the side, like from the side rapping, it looks like that Alfred Hitchcock silhouette is rapping.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Biggie would be dead regardless. It just would be.
right.
Yeah,
you knew it was coming.
Tell the people on that USA show, guys, you don't really need to figure this out. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen the previews for that?
Yeah.
What is the guy's name? The guy from Transformers.
Oh, Josh Duhamel?
Yeah, he's one of the detectives.
Yeah.
That's got to be a little insulting, right?
He's doing Taco Bell commercials. I don't think this
But it's going to be a little insulting, like, oh, we have to have this white guy who wants to get to the bottom of these murders.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Just
I thought you were talking about it's insulting he's
That's
doing
why
this
they
movie.
should shoot more white kids.
Oh, boy. Now we're back to that.
That's how you do it. Bring it full
Ooh,
circle.
that's full circle.
All right. Anything else on Dangerous Minds?
No.
Vic?
No, I was just looking. I just looked up. He's got 9 albums under his record and over 50 different TV/movie appearances.
I thought you were going to say
he's
five.
He's actually
Who, Coolio?
what? Yeah.
Yeah, didn't he start doing like shit on Nickelodeon?
He was on.
and stuff?
He was in Batman.
Dude,
and
he was
Robin.
on. He was in the Squidbillies, dude. There's a show called the Squidbillies.
Oh, wait, have
I
you ever
believe he was on one of the MTV reality shows with like Sherman Hemsley.
Surreal
he did,
Life. Surreal
he did
Life.
the Celebrity Wife Swap.
There was
God,
another.
did he?
Yeah.
There was another celebrity like reality show that he did too, where they had to. I remember they had to make some kind of restaurant. I don't remember
Rachel
what it was.
versus Guy Celebrity Cook-Off.
That's
wait,
That's
no,
it.
wait. Who was his like partner for the Celebrity Wife Swap? Who did he switch wives with?
Hold on. Let me
It'd be
see
great
if
if it was like fucking.
Elton John.
I don't know if they have. Let me see if they have the actual episodes.
Because it would be
season 1. Here it is. Hold on 1 second. Nope, not season 1.
Oh no!
Coolio and Mark McGrath.
Wow, how do you feel
So
for
he
Mark
got-
McGrath's wife?
Right?
Coolio's wife.
Dude, I think we've completely got to the bottom of why he's not taken seriously. It's completely a matter of choice.
Wait, do you think that it was the song Amish Paradise that pissed him off, or Weird Al's cover, and the fact that he called the album Bad Hair Day? Do you remember the album cover? It was like the parody of with the Coolio locks.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing, though, is the whole idea of Weird Al was people always loved that he makes a video of them. And Coolio was the same guy that, was the only guy that got mad. It's if you look at Eminem, too, when he kind of cooled off for a little bit is when he punched Triumph, the insult comic. You just kind of lose street credit if you're,
Punching a
If the beef is with a puppet dog.
Yeah, attacking puppets and 90-pound Jews.
Weirdest beef of all time, by the way, right?
That was
For a rapper?
That wasn't fake.
Yeah.
Eminem and Moby? I don't think so.
No, I mean with Triumph the Insult.
No, I
Comic.
don't think so. I think it was a time in his life when he was angry.
I thought that
No,
was...
but the Eminem and Moby has got to be the weirdest beef ever.
Yeah.
Just right next to Coolio and Weird Al
Do you
Yankovic.
think Moby at any point in time was like, how did I get into this?
Yeah, it's like, how did I get dragged into this?
I'm just a gay electronica guy.
I don't even have lyrics in my songs. What the hell?
Yeah,
That'd be
he's
really
like,
hard
I
for
just-
Moby to do the battle track
The battle
bass.
rap.
Yeah.
He's just playing a bunch of synthesizers.
Yeah. He's got audio clips from other people saying his
Plays the
sentences.
pitch really high.
Yeah.
That's Moby's talking some shit.
Well, that was the thing, though, because both Moby and Weird Al were like, I like the guy. I'm scared.
How would you feel if that happened to you? Like someone you like, someone whose music you listen to, and then all of a sudden they're beefing with you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, damn it. Now I can't listen to the Marshall Mathers LP.
But you're not even in their wheelhouse. Like, there's no reason why Moby should be involved with anything Eminem would ever do.
So here's a question: did you guys bring up Judgment Day because Coolio was in it?
No, I didn't know he was in it.
Wait, no, Judgment Night, right?
Yeah, Judgment Night.
Oh, okay, because he's in a movie called Judgment Day.
That was a sequel.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was part 2. What is Judgment Day? What?
Hold on.
Was that a zombie movie? Like a direct?
I feel like it was.
It feels like it would. That Coolio does feel like he would be in some sort of like direct-to-video zombie.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi.
Okay, so a cultist with
CGI.
I can't say the word.
Speak.
Enigmatic leader seizes the only man capable of devising a way to stop a giant meteor from hitting the Earth.
Oh my God! What are your bets? Is Coolio the enigmatic leader, or is he the guy who can stop the meteor from striking Earth?
Hold on. A female agent teams up with a prisoner, Ice-T. Together.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that the prisoner was Ice-T, because if I would have given you the option of teaming up with a prisoner, all of us would have gone Coolio's the prisoner. So what was Coolio in that?
Hold on, I'm looking for it.
God, I hope he's the guy that can stop the meteor.
Coolio as Luther. He's just Luther.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
Come on, this was a Mario Van Peebles
Do you think
movie,
he was
so
brought in?
It wasn't good.
Do you think he was brought in as an extra, and then nobody noticed until they were doing the editing, and then they were like, "Wait, is that guy sitting at the diner Coolio? We got to credit him. Call him Luther."
He showed up to set with Ice-T for some reason, and they just put him in the movie.
Call him Luther.
No, just because Mario Van Peebles called and was like, "Remember how we did New Jack City together?"
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
This
Coolio
is
was
kind of
in
like
New Jack?
that, but
No,
my
Ice-T
budget's
was.
$13.
Good Lord.
Yeah, Mario Van Peebles. He's like Melvin Van Peebles, but worse.
Right.
I don't know. Who
His
either of
dad
these
made
people are.
Sweetback's Badass Song, and he made New Jack City.
Right.
I like New Jack City though.
I do too, yeah.
Leprechaun in the Hood, people. Come on.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
true. That is a thing.
I think Leprechaun in the Hood may be our St. Patrick's Day movie for either this year or next year.
I thought we were going in order.
I know. I don't know which one.
I think we're on 3.
We're supposed to be going in order.
Yeah, we are going to go in order, but I don't know which one that falls as.
All right, before we close up, Dave, have you seen any movies recently that were interesting to you?
I have seen some movies.
Have you seen the Black Panther, which apparently they don't like it because it's black?
Well, personally, I refuse to watch, and I won't let my son play with the toys.
He can
Which,
only
by the
have
way, is a
claw.
whole controversy I don't understand. I'm like, I had a Landau Calrissian toy, I had Mr. T, I had all the G.I. Joes. This is, I don't get it. But, yeah, I have not seen Black Panther. I've heard actually nothing but good things, though. Have you guys actually watched it?
Yeah, we were saving that for the next episode, Vic.
Okay, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No, Vic did.
No, yeah, Vic did. Of course, but to his defense, we didn't tell him.
Did you take that chair on Facebook everybody was passing around?
The what?
Oh, Corey doesn't know what I'm talking about because he doesn't have black friends on Facebook. You didn't see that?
I'm about to.
There was that meme of like the big African-looking throne, and there's a caption that says, "I'm taking this chair with me to see Black Panther, and nobody's stopping me." That's how I imagine Vic went and watched it in Delaware. Him and his neighbor, the only 2 people at the screening.
Only black people allowed to go see that movie. Remember?
I watched.
So I love. Hold on. Are we not going to talk about this? Or are we going to talk?
We're going to talk about it next episode. So, Dave,
All right,
what is a movie you've seen recently that you would either recommend or warn people to stay away from?
I would watch, if you like horror, the movie The Ritual. I watched it last night. It's on Netflix, and it's actually it's really good of where it goes and how actually crazy a Lost in the Woods movie can get.
The Ritual. I've seen that. I need to watch that. I'm a big horror
I skipped
movie
over it last night. I was going to watch it last night. And
What
completely
did you
skipped
think
it,
of
so
The
I'm
Open House?
I liked it.
Yeah, see, I thought it was okay. I don't know. Corey didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
I felt it was a typical horror that was just done in the way that, like, Prom Night or anything, it went exactly where you thought it would go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like. It was a very basic horror movie that, you know, I don't think it was amazing, but I did like it.
What about the new Cloverfield movie? Did you see that one?
I hated it.
Yeah, garbage fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Piece of
Did you guys like
trash.
it?
No,
No.
it's horrible.
Yeah.
We talked about this a few episodes ago. Vic and I, like, because we knew 10 Cloverfield Lane was basically an independent movie that what's his fucking name liked?
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams liked, and so he was like, "Oh, I bet I can get the studios to put this movie through if I attach Cloverfield to it."
Yep.
And so
That's why the ending was so bad. It was a great movie.
Vic and I were
up until the last 5 minutes.
And Vic and I were okay with that. We said we will take these movies all day if you get a 10 Cloverfield Lane. Like, I can watch that great movie and then deal with the bullshit ending.
Yes.
This time was just garbage from the start.
Yeah.
Well, because it's a bullshit ending and a bullshit movie. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. The whole thing is just...
Well, the fact that they did that, and now there's the fourth one's about to come out in the theaters. So, like, it's they go, okay, we're going to make this movie, and they're like, well, we'll throw it in the Cloverfield world, and then they just give them a laundry list of shit to throw in the movie to make it connect. Like, we need a guy named this, we need this logo, we need this piece of thing here, we need this here, and, you know, inject all of this into the movie, and we can connect it to Cloverfield. We'll call it a Cloverfield movie.
yeah, that's exactly. No, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it was, and it's weird because, you know, the first one is amazing. I really do like 10 Cloverfield Lane, besides the ending, but to fall off that much from the first two, and really the first one. Because the first one is an alien movie. It's an alien invasion movie, basically, or Godzilla or whatever. Yeah. And then this one is just, it's essentially, what was that movie? Prometheus, but no budget and just unwatchable.
And Prometheus was garbage too.
Yeah, I hated that too. Because I don't need a prequel to Alien.
Yeah, they have not done the space movie right in a while, because that new Alien movie, Covenant or whatever, was garbage.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of anything to do with aliens, and I hated that movie.
Me too. Yeah, I'm the same. And I love the first Alien. I love Alien 2, 3. I even like Alien vs Predator, but this one was just
the first one of those.
I never saw AVP 2.
Yeah, it's not pretty, dude. It's just not pretty at all.
Yeah.
Anytime they
that's a really bad low feeling on yourself night where you're just like, everything's gone wrong. I might as well watch a shitty movie. When you watch that movie.
Anytime they add a word like Requiem to a title or something like that, it's gonna be shitty.
Wasn't there a whole movie called Requiem of a Dream or something?
That is a great movie.
Yeah. That movie. Well, and that movie is one of those movies where also afterwards you feel really shitty, except that depressed feeling is before or is after you watch that film. That is the craziest ending. I watched a man vomit after that movie ended, and that's a fucked up movie.
I was dating a girl, and we had just moved in together a few weeks before that. This is in my early 20s. And it's like a Sunday afternoon. We're at home, and she sees that movie. She's like, "Oh, I want to watch this movie." And I'm like, "No, you don't." And she's like, "Yeah, I really do. I love Marlon Wayans." And I'm like, "You're not going to like this Marlon Wayans
brother in it.
And so she goes, I was like, "All right." I go, "But you're not going to feel right after it's over." So I've seen this movie 1,000 times at this point. I actually fell asleep. I woke up as like the credits were starting. And she was just sitting next to me on the bed, curled up in like a ball, rocking back and forth, going, "You're right. I don't feel right. I shouldn't have watched this. I don't feel right." And I was like, "I told you."
Yeah, it's like, how did you like Keith David, the dad from Something About Mary, being the creepy version of that character? Like, the reason why Keith David works so well is because of Something About Mary and They Live, and he can be put into campy movies. And that he's jarring because he's like, "Come on, baby, I didn't just take it out for air."
And then we did drugs, and she was fine.
yeah, that's because there's nothing that makes you want to do drugs more than Requiem for a Dream.
the Jared Leto's arm getting cut in half.
Yeah, Jennifer, what's her name, Connolly, going ass to ass for a room of Asian businessmen.
Ass.
Yeah, that makes you want to try heroin.
That is the part though where like even though it's in like one of the darkest points of the movie and you've seen all this dark shit, every time it still makes me laugh just when that because they like it's like he's like on a game show when they ask that guy. It's like, what do you want him to do? He's like, ass to ass. And everybody's like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about Dangerous Minds or Ass to Ass? Either the last.
Makes it. It survives.
Vic, anything about Dangerous Minds or Ass to Ass? Either.
I have nothing for Ass to Ass or Dangerous Mind. It held up to me simply because it was a good watch. Like I don't know about the what Corey was saying. I don't know. I guess I don't understand that statement as to it was modernly shot. I don't know.
It just holds up visually. There are movies that are. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and remember.
Well, I think the cinematography. Not to interrupt you, but I agreed with you because the cinematography definitely feels like it was done well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
For its time.
Yeah, exactly, and that in itself still holds up. That's what I'm referring to. So yeah, I mean,
it just threw me when you said, "Yeah, I liked it," but I liked the way it was shot, but I didn't like the movie. I'm like, and how does it hold up?
Yeah,
right.
Just because of that.
Well, have you gotten closure on that, Vic?
I'm good.
Right.
It's not unusual for Corey to throw me. So
it's not unusual.
Stab him in the neck.
This music couldn't
Right
come
now.
on fast enough. All right, that is our episode. Thank you for listening to the Showdown podcast. For Corey Miller,
Yep.
Vic Miller,
That's me.
our very special guest, Dave Landau.
Hi.
I'm Brad Scott. Thank you for listening. Hey, y'all, everybody listen up. I'm about to get my speak on. Fools be tripping when it's time to get their freak on. Run around town putting it down without no protection for their erection. When it's time for selection, what's your direction? Before you make a choice, you better do some inspection, buddy. If you don't know my name and don't know my game, then let me explain. Now, Aisha slept with Mark, Mark slept with Tina, Tina slept with Javier the first time he seen her, Javier slept with Lupe, and Lupe slept with Rob because he was rolling on beats and had a good-ass job, buddy. Rob slept with Lisa, who slept with Steve, and Steve was positive HIV. What started off as a plan ended up in the plot. You better cool your ass off because it's too damn hot, buddy.